Fear not, denizens, Parade is here, aka the new voice of freedom, aka Father of the Sea and Sun, aka King of the Core. And I, with my illustrious co-host, the host of the Celebration Cantina, Uncle Sheev on twitch.tv, aka the Wizard of Oscars, Eli from the Fan Awakens. How are you today, sir?
Excellent. I'm very good. I am very good. Thank you for that intro, as always, my friend.
Of course.
And I am excited to talk about the thing that started it all for us. Pretty much, our first foray into this
I think so.
back and forth. Andor, man, I am so pumped. We've been waiting for this forever. And it's here. It's here.
Finally
It's all here.
I can't believe that was our first thing. I mean, after Celebration Cantina, right?
Yeah.
But
Celebration
jumping
Cantina was
in,
first.
yeah, we did episode by episode review, all 12 episodes of Andor season 1 on the Fan Awakens channel. Now we're here at the Reigncore channel talking about season 2. And if you're new here, we actually not only do the Star Wars shows and reviews, we also review the movies. We also review movies outside of Star Wars. We talk about things that we like. And hopefully you guys enjoy hearing us talk about the things that we like. We also went to Celebration 2025, Tokyo, Japan. Let's do something that we haven't done in a long time. Let's do a fit check.
Oh, rolling with a fit check. All right. So I'll go first.
You go first.
I got it on right here. I got my little Star Wars Celebration hat.
Yes, sir.
Japan. I don't know how these things get so dirty so easily. It's like my first time wearing it, but
It's fine.
it's cool. It's a nice hat. And then I got my Leia shirt on. So
There you
I don't
go.
know if it's gonna show on the camera.
It's fine.
But
Yeah, it's
came back with a bunch of shirts.
yeah.
And so we'll be seeing them on these reviews.
Yeah, you're gonna have to represent all the shirts because I bought one.
For sure.
I bought the Andor one. That is coming. I will wear it probably for a latter Andor review episode. But how was your celebration? Really quick, just your elevator pitch for how your celebration went.
Very tiring. Very tiring. It was good though. It was good. I have a lot of thoughts on it. I feel like we're gonna have to do a long form convo on it.
Yeah.
But I feel like putting it at the end of the trip was probably the best choice overall, but it didn't make it. I feel like I was already pretty tired going into it, where usually, you want to feel fresh on the first day.
Yeah.
On the first day, I was already kind of dragging my feet, but it was fun. It was good to see you there, and it was
Yes.
good to we hung out quite a bit at Celebration.
Yeah.
The panels were fun.
Mm-hmm.
Merch was good. So overall, I'd say success.
Yeah, I had a pretty good time. Tired for sure, especially at the end of the trip, like the tail end of the trip. Yeah, it was
probably
pretty rough.
Yeah, it's probably number 3 on my celebration rankings of the ones
really?
I've been to.
Yeah,
But I am curious how that would have been if it was my first day in Japan or third day, second day, whatever.
sure,
I
yeah.
went there.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, that's interesting. But yeah, stay tuned to the Reigncore channel and the Fan Awakens channel where we'll be having those more in-depth conversation about Celebration, our vacation in Japan, just in general too, because there was a lot of that stuff. Eli joined me on my trek to hit 4 Pokemon centers in a day, and that pretty much
It was a long day.
Took a lot of steps to achieve, but
it was fun.
But never again. I'll never have to do that again. But
we made our pilgrimage.
It's
okay.
I did the pilgrimage. The child in me was very happy and very pleased with the Pokemon centers and what Japan had to offer. So we'll be doing more videos on Japan in general too. But if you are new to the celebration, or not even the celebration, if you're new to this channel, I want to also encourage you to follow, because we're going to be sharing how we prepare for Star Wars Celebration, because the next one, if you haven't heard already, 2027 Celebration comes to our hometown, California, and we're going to be in Los Angeles at the LA Convention Center, if I'm not mistaken, not Anaheim.
You are correct.
With LA Convention Center. So we're going to be doing more videos for the Celebration Cantina on the Fan Awakens channel. And then we're going to be doing Celebration Preparation or Celebration Preppers here on the Reigncore. And that will probably be more likely short form video, so you can share it easily and refer back to it, very similar to the videos that Eli has done for previous Celebration cantinas, because we want to make sure you guys are prepared for what Celebration has to offer, because there's a lot to prepare for, even 2 years ahead
There is.
of the game. We're recording in 2025, and people are already gearing up to, like, when they're picking up tickets, what they're gonna cosplay, what they're gonna.
Before we started this, we were already talking a little preliminary talks about some ideas,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
prep work.
yeah. And let's just manifest it now. Maybe the live Rain Awakens podcast live
Absolutely.
in Los Angeles, where it all began, because that's where Eli invited me onto the Celebration Cantina, and how this podcast train started to roll. But today we're here talking about Andor season 2, episode 1 through 3. And it was very nice because me and Eli got to watch episode 1 together on the Celebration
Yes, sir.
stage with all the fans there in Tokyo. And what do you think about watching it live on a big screen?
I was so excited. Obviously, it was one of those things that you and I had crossed our fingers would happen.
A
Pretty
premiere.
much
I wanted a premiere,
as soon
but
as, yeah. I mean, a premiere would have been great, but like just seeing it early, even though it's only a couple days, it does make you
sorry.
feel like, all right, it feels special. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was cool seeing it in that environment. It was cool seeing it on a big screen. Yeah, it wasn't a
Yes.
movie theater, but like it felt like a movie when we
It did.
watched it. So I think that was pretty awesome, and it's something that I always love when like shows are coming out that I'm hyped for, and they're big budget shows. It doesn't happen often, but every once in a while, like, oh, watch the first episode in theaters or something. I think the notorious one is the Thunderbolt, or no, the Inhumans, which didn't work.
Oh,
But but I thought it was a pretty special moment, and that's like, obviously my favorite Star Wars show. I'm pretty sure it's your favorite Star Wars show,
yes.
and one of my favorite shows in general. So it was a great way to kick it off. Something I won't forget.
Yeah. I think we were talking about it too. Is like there's not going to be many opportunities to watch the TV shows in a theater. So
Yeah,
it was really cool to watch it with probably 1,000 people in
yeah,
Japan
it's for sure.
before it airs, and on a big screen, and like, the sounds and the lights and all that stuff. So that was really cool. But I did go back through to watch it again multiple. I watched it 2 times over, episode 1 through 3, just to make sure I didn't miss anything, catching all the little things that I might have missed. But uh, Eli, search your feelings. What did you think about episodes 1 through 3 of Andor season 2?
You know what? Started faster than season 1, episode 1, 2, 3. I will
Agreed.
say that. Certainly faster. I think that they do a good job. They established everything in season 1. I know that some of the complaints were that it was too slow. I didn't ever feel that way, but
Yeah,
I get it, especially the first 3 episodes. These 3, I still think that Cassian's storyline is the weakest by
agreed.
a good margin, but I actually don't mind that. Like, it's fine with me. Everything else was pretty spectacular. It throws us back into the world. Things are the stakes are already there. We get to see old characters. We get to see Krennic,
Yeah.
and we get to see kind of where these characters are. Daedra and Cyril. I enjoyed their scenes quite a bit. Um, and I didn't expect to get like going into the season. I wasn't thinking, oh, Daedra and Cyril is gonna make me laugh. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like I
sure. Yeah,
just
yeah.
Cyril had his little dry humor moments for sure. Um, but also getting to hear the cast talk about the show and then going into it, and they didn't spoil anything, but they sort of set the stage
Yeah.
in a way that I did appreciate. I was into it. I really vibed with these first 3 episodes, and I haven't looked into any reviews. I haven't had anything spoiled for me, but I have heard reactions. Everybody seems to love the whole season who's seen it, so
Oh,
I'm
okay.
on for the ride, man. How about you?
I didn't know that they already released it to, I guess, media. That's
I think the
all.
media got the whole thing like
Oh,
three
wow.
weeks ago.
Oh, wow, wow, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it hasn't been spoiled for me. I've only been talking to a few people about the first 3 episodes. Watching it through the first time, I was a little. It's always hard for me because expectations versus
of course.
reality, and I was like, okay, it wasn't as bad as when I first watched season 1 of Andor, where I was like, oh, this is not what I wanted. And then it wasn't until the second arc, like the Aldani
Sure.
heist, where I'm like, oh, I'm fully in. I'm gonna watch them
Man,
all,
yeah.
of course. This one does pick up more so, but I think what I was surprised by was kind of, and it's not a bad thing thinking about it now, when Cassian. Oh, and for anyone who's watching, full on
Oh,
spoilers. We're not gonna
good call.
we're gonna talk about everything. Um, it actually, the him trying to steal the tie felt very Star Wars, actually, like movie Star
Yes,
Wars. And
I
that threw
agree.
me because I'm expecting kind of like a grittier, more grounded thing about Andor. But it was like, oh, we're kind of going to goof around a little bit and he's going to try to struggle. And the adventure is like kind of hitting,
Yeah,
right?
like, it feels like, "Oh, this could be on Star Tours." Like,
Yeah.
this is something that could be featured, yeah.
Yeah. It felt very Star Wars, like, sequel trilogy, prequel. Like it feels Star Wars movie versus
Yes.
Andor show. um and it didn't like throw me too hard, but what did was Cassian's arc through these 3 episodes. So going back to what you were saying, I did enjoy the Mon arc that we're starting. I did enjoy the Dedra, her arc with Krennic and with
Yep.
Cyril, and our Ferrix crew. I think out of the 4 arcs that we're starting here, I think Cassian's is the weakest. However, it's not the worst thing I've seen in Star Wars.
No,
I think it highlights a couple of things, like him being a leader now, him talking to
I
that
agree.
first girl about the rebellion. I thought his little speech to her was great, encouraging her what is needed from her. But him as a prisoner with those rebels was kind of throwing me off because that just felt a little, again, not even Star Wars. It just felt a little too goofy. Even on second watch, knowing how they were going to deliver their lines and the story, I'm like, where is this going?
One could argue that is very Star Wars, but but no,
Hey,
I get you. I
hey,
get you on that.
maybe.
Like, part of it, like you were saying when they open with Cassian stealing the tie, like, part of it, I do think, yeah, there's a bit of a goofiness to it, and it is kind of reminiscent of when Poe is trying to steal a tie fighter in the beginning of episode 7. But I still appreciate that, like, he's still taking it serious. The actors are taking it serious, and like,
Yes.
it's, yeah, it's a goofy sort of way to open it, but it's not, I don't know, goofy's probably the wrong word. It's
Goofy's not
fun, you
the
know what I
word. I
mean?
guess
Like,
it's like not as serious as I thought it would be.
sure, sure.
And
Like,
even
they
in
could have
Rogue
made it
One, there's like
higher tension, and
silly with like K2. So it's like
but
it's
I
not
enjoyed it.
outside of it. Yeah, yeah. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, and I think that it is a nice introduction showing that, he's obviously progressed in the rebellion, and like you said, he is a leader, and uh they separate him, and now he's back with, he ends up obviously at the end of the 3rd episode reuniting with his crew,
Yeah.
and I'm excited for that, and who really knows where it's going to pick up after that, but um yeah, the stuff with where were they, Yavin?
They
um
were, yeah, like
yeah,
Yavin is where he ends up,
um
yeah. Because he goes
you know
there and he's expecting to see this guy named Porco. Porco's not there, and then these, I
yep,
guess, rebels, this rebel sect, because
other
they are mentioned in season 1.
they
um
were.
and they're just kind of like, they got left and stranded and they don't know how to survive. There is a contrast between the level of skill that Cassian has,
Yes.
like being a child and living in the wilderness, versus this crew that don't know how to do anything. But I was like, I wonder what the message is here, because I wasn't really getting it besides
Sure.
unskilled
I do
soldiers.
like the idea of it though, that like we get to see the rebellion from so many different angles, where it's not everybody is out here fighting
Actually,
the
yeah.
Death Star.
Yeah.
There's so many, they're taking anyone they can really, and you have different leaders and different groups and
Yeah.
different sections, and not everybody's as capable. So I
Right.
think
That's
that it's
true.
nice to see that. They probably spent a little too long on them bickering and arguing back and forth,
Yeah.
but it's still, I think in the grand scheme, we'll probably look back and like think of it as a cool thing that they mentioned. But yeah,
I'm hoping that the person who left them there will come, like it'll eventually, like, oh, this person, my brother was there, like,
yeah,
somehow tie it together. um Even though this is a snapshot, because like this first 3 episodes is a snapshot of this
yep,
year, right? And each
three
episodes of
episode
3,
arc.
yeah, is going to be a snapshot of the next year or the following years or whatever. um it's weird that Cassian's snapshot was being a prisoner, with these kind of clownish rebel groups, and hopefully that won't be a misstep as we move forward. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, I like that we were on Yavin, and it's like, oh, it's before the base was established. Those characters might still be there, you know.
They very well may. They very well may,
So
yeah.
we'll
You're
see.
gonna be watching Rogue One or something. Oh, hey, this is actually like you're gonna read in a book. This is actually the guys from, the people from
Right, right.
that held Cassian captive. Maybe who knows? Maybe in the I don't know episode 7 of this the season he's gonna reconnect with them and they've got their act together.
Yeah, maybe,
Um,
maybe,
so that
maybe.
it could be a callback, but
To
everything else like and not to harken on that too much, but
yeah,
yeah, I think that Cassian though he stood out. He's a leader. He's come into his own, and he's got a lot of stuff going on. You see, they're not taking it easy on us in this first 3 episodes.
right. And just to highlight a couple things with that arc for Cassian, I did like. I was surprised when I think the guy's name was Crab, and he shoots the only pilot that they had, the
Yes.
Rika pilot. I was surprised. I think even when we were watching it live, I said, "Oh!" Like, I was like, "Oh man, he
Yeah, we
actually
did. I didn't expect that. He just, you know.
shot her point blank." And then even them just like all putting down the guns at the same time. I like the choreography of that. They're like, "Hey, we're gonna meet up. You know, we're not gonna be able to survive on our own, and we're gonna do rock paper scissors essentially to try to figure things out." Um, and yeah, I did enjoy like those two scenes. And even the creature that comes out, the Dudar, and just like swallows up. Actually, the main characters of that group, the two leaders of that group, get swallowed. Um, in that scene, and I was like, oh yeah, because they mentioned it a couple times. They're like, oh yeah, there's beasts out here, and you can hear it like roaring in the background. And then my prediction is that the guy Cassian was supposed to meet got swallowed up by that thing.
Yeah,
That would be my guess.
that's probably a good prediction to be honest.
Yeah.
That probably did happen, and I mean, even when Cassian's escaping, I mean, he just shoots him in the last person, the Tie Fighter, dumps
Oh
him out of
right.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta keep it moving, and I mean, they're all rebels, but very different, you know?
Yeah. Even too, I thought it was an interesting choice for him not just to mow everybody down like he did with the stormtroopers. He let them live.
Yeah.
He's like, whatever, they'll just suffer on their
Yeah, I
own.
mean, they were stranded, yeah.
Yeah, what are they gonna do?
Gonna get eaten at some
Yeah.
point, but
But I felt like, and hopefully it wasn't just a writing thing to go, hey, let's check in with Cassian while everybody else is doing their arc and why he's late. I'm hoping that's
sure.
not all it was. But I'm hoping something will come of this in the future of this show. But yet to be seen until we see those episodes. What did you think? We talked about a little bit, but Dedra, Krennic, and Cyril.
So, I mean, I will say, going to Krennic, they introduced Krennic pretty quickly, and I don't wanna say unceremonious or anything, but he's there, like, it's just
Yeah,
he's there, and I love that we
yeah,
just get into it. Um, Obviously, he's in a position of power here, he has his very tight group talking about trying to strategize how to, manage the Gorman situation,
yeah.
and I'm so happy. I love Ben Mendelsohn.
Oh
He's
yeah,
great in that role. Seeing Daedra playing against him is great too.
yeah.
I think that Star Wars has always done a great job with just casting Imperials, like the
Sure.
Imperial officers who, even if they're one-offs and things like that, they're great. So I think I'm excited to see them keep going. I like the idea that Daedra is brought in and, kind of bring her expertise, even though it ends up being a bit of a conflict for
Mm,
her with, her own uh, mission, right? Her own what she wants to stay on, and
yeah.
not necessarily Gorman. But I was into it. I was into it. And the stuff with Cyril, I loved those scene, the
Oh yeah.
dinner scene with his mom. I actually loved it. It was funny, but the characters fit.
Yeah.
They were consistent. I think Daedra, she's laying down the law,
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
got Cyril there, and that's her man, I guess. So she's
Yeah.
not taking anything there. I thought it was excellent. I was into it.
I'm so into it. You know, I was asking for it in season one when he saves her life. I was like, kiss her, right? I wanted that, and I got it. They're living together in an apartment and on Coruscant, man, and just like going to the relationship thing, they're just so weird and awkward. They talked
They're
about it at the
so
panel
weird.
too.
Yes.
There's just this like tension. They're probably not going to show anything, right? Because even just these
Yeah.
two living together, like what is it like when they're alone? Are they like cuddling? You know what I mean? Like it's weird to think
Like they
about.
just sit and stare at each other
Yeah,
all day.
read
Just
books,
just
separate beds, probably. You know what I mean? It's like it's weird, but I love it. And even going back to Krennic, I love how we're just like introduce this character like really quick. We
yep.
know he's leading this group, and even in his TED talk or his speech, he's like anyone who's here is in the know. But there's other
Yes.
people who aren't here that don't know. He mentioned Tarkin. I think he mentioned one of the other Imperial leaders. I can't remember the name right off the top, but he's like they don't
That's
even
so
know.
Krennic, man. That's so it's just that is Krennic.
Yeah,
He's like,
he's
"You may
like
have superiors who don't it's like
yeah,
this, if you're here, you are."
handpicked,
Yeah,
handpicked by me.
handpicked,
And if you know, and the emperor, like he's just like name dropping
name dropping,
Palpatine.
yep.
He's like unlimited power, like he's just like all about it. I was like, dude, I'm all about this too. And watching it through the second time, there's just so much like it's actually juxtaposition about with the rebels actually, how
Good.
prepared and how knowledgeable they are and how they're trying to execute this, where the rebels at this point they're just like kind of they don't know what's going on, they can barely survive right in their position.
Yeah.
But they're even talking about like weaponizing propaganda and you know and telling the world that the Gormans are the problem. They're like the spiders that live under there. They're the villains. We need to get their pests, you know, kind of thing. So there was a lot of cool stuff there on second watch for sure that I didn't pick up the first time. And even Krennic clocking Dedra is like, hey, you haven't said anything, but I know you have a plan. Like, you tell me what the plan is. And I'm like, oh, this is just Krennic being Krennic, like trying to, you know, like, oh, I came up with the Death Star and it's all me and like, you know, trying to
Yep.
take advantage of the situation. So yeah, Ben Mendelsohn is great. And I'm like, oh yeah, please give me more. And I can't wait till he
Yes.
crosses our other characters' paths like they show in the trailer. But yeah, super excited to see him.
It's so exciting, and I am curious if he's gonna do the old Krennic move, where Daedra's idea ends up being his idea, and I'm excited to see that happen because I'm sure, uh,
And she's not about
that
that either.
no, she's not.
She's not about nobody taking her ideas for sure. So I'm wondering if that like messes up her relationship with the Empire. But going back to them living together and Edie Karn showing up, and then she's like,
Yes.
"Oh, you know, Uncle Harlow," and she's like,
What a
"Uncle Harlow's
scene.
record's not
Oh
as
my
clean." And
gosh, I love that. When she breaks it down, when Cyril goes to sulk and cry in
cry
bed,
on the
that
bed.
was such a funny cutaway. But the energy of it was
Oh
fantastic.
yeah,
I mean, especially everybody was killing it in that scene. When
yeah,
His
100%
mom comes in and she's just going on and
condescending as
on
hell.
and on. Yes, very condescending, and even she starts with Daedra. What does she
She
say?
says, she goes,
You look
"You don't look like something like you don't look like I thought you would look like," or something like that.
yes, yes.
And she goes, "You're not gonna ask what I thought you would look like," and just like, no.
I mean, even when she's getting ready, when Daedra has that like forced smile in the
Oh
mirror,
yeah, yeah,
it's
so
just so
good, so
and
good.
oh, it's so many subtle things that it's relatable and it's awkward and it's
Oh yeah,
weird.
yeah,
Uh but when Cyril I'm like, okay, this is a pretty nice apartment,
yeah.
pretty small.
It's a
We get to see
palace,
it's a palace. Yes, we get to see the zoomed out. Cyril's laying in bed. I'm sure.
right?
Does he hear? Does he hear? She's not being quiet.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
He tuned out
I
though, because like
yeah,
he
he
tunes
did.
back in when she hears her laughing. So he's like, "That's weird."
He does.
So yeah, he definitely tuned that whole thing out. But yeah,
Maybe you heard the first couple words, and he's like,
earmuffs. Even him, at the workplace, and then he's like introducing the new
"Yes,
guy, and he's like, oh, I used to work right over there, and if you know stick your mind to it, like me, Dwight from The Office, you
I
could
know
too
so many of
rise, you
those
know,
guys."
into yeah, it was so good. Cyril's great. Cyril's great.
Not too long ago, I was right where you are.
Yeah, yeah,
And then he goes boasting on about his findings, and his excellent work that led him to this position, this middle management corporate position he's in. Excellent stuff,
yeah,
man.
yeah, so
I
good.
mean, yeah, I obviously in the first season, if I know if you guys haven't watched our reviews of the first season, you were very much team Cyril and Daedra, and
Yeah.
I was anti team Cyril and Daedra. But if we get more of this, I'm in, man. I'm
Yeah.
on. I've joined your side.
Yes. Yes. Another one for team Cedra or Deidril. No, I like it. These two actors are phenomenal at these characters, and just to kind of go this next level of them in a relationship, like I'm glad we just kind of skip into like, oh, they live together and
I
they're
agree.
quote unquote a team now, and even him not even crossing the line where he knows about the meeting but he's not going to ask about it and she's not going to tell. So like they know work is so much bigger than them. Like the
Yes.
idea of the empire and all this stuff is bigger than them. They're not even going to broach that subject.
I'm so curious. Like I mean, I'm so excited to see where the storyline goes and just to see, I mean, does her relationship strain because of,
Yeah.
certain I mean, not that anything's spoiled here, but the actress who plays Daedra, she spoke about. She kept mentioning how in the first season everybody kept, kind of admiring her. Oh, she's girl bossing out here in the man's world and doing all. And I
Yeah.
think Daedra's a great character,
Yeah.
but it's like in season two, she's just full fascist.
Yeah. She's like full
She's not. You're
fascism.
not gonna like her. It's not. She's not. She's going in.
Yeah. I'm excited
Um.
to see what her arc leads to because she's such a great. You're kind of rooting for her in season one to find
Yes, I
them, but
agree.
you're not, and that's what I think
Yes,
makes a great villain for Star Wars here, because
I agree.
you're like, oh, she's picking up what everybody else is like not ignoring, what everyone else is ignoring, and even
She does
her.
deplorable things, but
Sure.
in the they do portray her in a way that, yeah, you do it does feel like an underdog, and she is like she's working from, she's working up the hill, you know what I mean? And it is very easy to find yourself, like, in a weird roundabout way, yeah, rooting for her to succeed in a way. You don't want her to win here,
Right.
but yeah, yeah, I
It's a
agree.
very enjoyable watch, but like even like she tortured Bix, you know what I mean?
Yes,
But even there's
exactly.
like little things she does in season one when I was watching it recently. She was
Yeah,
like, they were like, "Oh, do we take the dad, woman's dad? Did we take him out of the room?" And she goes, "No, no, like leave him." And then the Bix comes in. And she's like, "What is he still doing in this room? Like, get her! Don't let her see. Get him out of here!" And just like she just knows how to play this game. Um,
jazz.
and yeah, she's just a great villain, and it's just so compelling to watch on screen. I really like it.
And it's great because I think until I mean, there's so often we get attached to these really cool Imperial officers, but they're gone within a couple
Just like
scenes,
yeah,
They leave their mark, you're like, that's a really cool character. Then they're dead. Or then they're gone. We never see them again.
yeah,
And with Deja, we actually get to see we get to spend time with the character
yeah,
and I think she's gonna do some deplorable things in this season.
100%
Uh it's gonna be it's so weird to me. It's in a good way
in a good way. Yeah.
because they play these characters so seriously and I would watch a full comedy of this situation. Just drop me in the apartment. You can make a 22 episode season, mid 2000 style, I'm in.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, it reminds me of Game of Thrones, where you're watching the Lannisters do deplorable things, but it's just so compelling to watch and see them do all their chess moves. Right? It just makes good
Yeah.
television. And even speaking of Game of Thrones, you have her lead Paragast there, who's like, she's like, I thought about it last night. I don't want to do this. Like, get me off of this assignment. I need to find access. And he's like,
Yeah.
Dedra, he's like, this Gorman is a gift. He's like, it might seem like it's a demotion, but like Krennic is a solution oriented guy. So if take this gift, win it. Like he's like still coaching her, which is cool because they
Yeah.
kind of had contention at the beginning of Andor where she's just like, whatever, be quiet, lady, but she's like proving herself and they're walking side by side going to work together. Like that says a lot, right? About how far
Yes.
she's gone with the ISB. And yeah, I think we're going to have some cool stuff with Dedra. Obviously horrible atrocities, but also and good TV.
But see, the excellent thing about this, and something I've always loved about Star Wars storytelling when they dare to go this way, is you get to see both sides in that, like, not everybody in the Empire is evil. You know what I mean?
Sure.
A lot of people. are just there because it's their job, it's work, it's what they think.
Right.
Luke wanted to go to the Imperial Academy. I
Hmm.
mean, and he ended up being Luke Skywalker. Um, it's propaganda, and you
Yeah.
also see on the rebel side, we saw in season one plenty. Uh, they're not all saints either. It's the lesser of two evils, I guess. It's they. I mean, obviously, you can go back to Luthen's speech, but uh, I have a feeling we're gonna see the rebellion Luthen do some heinous things as well.
Yeah.
Uh,
For sure.
and
I don't want to get to Mon Mothma yet and Luthen because I think that's probably my favorite of the storylines. Let's talk about the
sure,
Ferrix crew. Rest in peace, my boy Brasso.
Big Brasso.
Moment of silence for Big Brasso.
I knew someone wasn't making it out, man.
I didn't think this soon though, man. I didn't. I thought my
I
boy was gonna make it at least to the third arc. Even with the speech he gave, or not even the speech, but the line delivery for Marva
yeah.
Andor, and just be like,
I
telling
knew
him
I
he
knew
loves
Bix
her
wasn't dying. I knew that.
for sure.
But I was like, beyond that, I just looked at my brother when he started. I'm like, man, someone's not making it, and I can't believe it. They got my dog,
The
man.
one
I can't.
stormtrooper who knows how to aim.
It's so funny when that came up, my brother was like, "Oh man, the one that AIM got him," and I said, "You don't know that.
Right,
He may
right,
have
right.
viciously missed, and
Yeah,
someone else just got lucky hip fire hit him." I'm like, "I need to see the zoom out. That guy
yeah,
slowly
yeah,
moves. Let me
yeah.
try and aim," and he just shanks it. Uh,
And I'm
but
like, Brasso, bob and weave, my guy, bob and weave, bob and weave.
you're right. He was going straight.
He was
He
going
was just
straight, man.
we've learned this lesson. But I do again, they kind of make stormtroopers and the Empire vicious and
Yeah,
mean. Vicious and like an
threatening.
actual threat.
Yeah,
It's not like you're gonna have 20 stormtroopers right behind you shooting and you could just kind of, you know, run straight and get out of it. These
yeah,
things happen. I do love that. Even if it hurt my soul a little bit. But
yeah,
in general, we check in with these characters and they've kind of made this they scrap together a little life here. Seems like
yeah.
they're always ready to go, but you check in and it's tough because Bix is still dealing with the fallout of what happened.
Orchard, yeah.
Yeah, she was tortured, and that's something where, like for instance, Leia was tortured by
Oh,
Vader,
true.
but we don't really see that fallout until we get into like in the books they explored in things, and I thought that stuff was pretty compelling. But with Bix, we get we get to see it, and that's real trauma right there, and I
Yeah.
think they portray it very well. It's pretty visceral. Adria Arjona is excellent. Shout out, I hope she becomes Wonder Woman, but um, it's it they that storyline is just trauma. It's just it's tense, and they have the inspections going, and you never get to rest.
Yeah, I know. And we'll talk about it here. Even what she went through in season 1 and then them kind of moving into like sexual assault, right, on this character
Yep.
again. And I'm like, "Oh, dude, really?" I'm like, "Oh god, this makes me feel so uncomfortable." But I think
Yeah.
that's what Tony Gilroy is trying to portray, especially with what's going on with current events and illegal immigrants and how they're being treated, and it's kind of touching on that, what's
It's
going on with
real.
current
Yeah,
events.
yeah.
It's real stuff, and it sucks because I know Star Wars fans, this is more of an escape. They want the more jovial things, but this is a story Tony Gilroy's trying to portray, and I want to get his take on Star Wars and let him be free to create what he wants to do. Um, and I think for me, I don't think it was necessary, but again, it's not my choice. It's Gilroy's choice. And it doesn't impact me in the same way as a male, and I've never had to deal with that before.
Sure.
But there is audience who have, and this probably relates to them, and this might help them in some way where they're able to, see how these characters can overcome. So I don't think it's a bad thing. And even especially them doubling down on it, where she's like, I was almost raped, so I had to kill this guy for him to leave me alone, self
Yes.
defense. And I'm kind of respect that choice on a Disney show. And there's no way to like skirt around it, or he wasn't trying to do that. It's very
Yeah.
intentional. But even you mentioned the quote, Tony
Tony
Gilroy.
Gilroy, yeah.
Yeah, what did he say again? It was
I mean, essentially, I don't remember word for word, but essentially saying, we are taking this more seriously than anyone ever has, or as
Yeah.
serious as we possibly can. And I think that with the sexual assault thing, happening in the show, I mean, in Star Wars, I mean, there's sex slaves and there's
Right.
different things with Leia, and I think that they're not necessarily introducing things that aren't in Star Wars. They're just showing it, they gloss over it. Like I mentioned in episode 4, Leia, I mean, they don't show it, they cut it off, but Leia's tortured by Vader,
Yeah. The
on
droid.
the
Yeah.
Death Star,
Yeah.
and with Leia again with Jabba the Hutt, they don't I mean, they show it, but they don't go into it, And so I
Yeah.
think it is pretty intense, obviously, but it's something that I think the show is kinda set up being, uh, quite serious and grounded, and it was pretty intense, but I also agree that I think that Bix is going to they're gonna have this story with the Bix, and she's gonna overcome, everything that's happened to her, I hope, but, she's a very strong character,
Super
and
strong
I
character.
think that, uh yeah, I don't think they handle it disrespectfully, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And it wasn't, like, over gratuitous with, like,
No.
the way that it was, sort of shot or portrayed. It's a person of power who's
Yeah.
abusing their power,
Yeah.
and, they got what they deserved in the end. So yeah, I'm curious to see. I don't expect them to keep going to that well. I think this was,
No.
kind of it.
Yeah.
But you know, it was a surprise.
Yeah, I definitely was taken back. I'm like, because even it's like the first encounter, and he's kind of like, the character's kind of leaning into
It's kind
it,
of sleepy,
kind
and
of
yeah.
sleazy. Oh,
Where's your husband? Your husband's not here.
yeah, oh,
They kind of.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then Brasso coming up, and he's like, oh, like kind of backing off, and
Yep.
just gotta be careful out there for everybody. But I even said this in season 1. I said Bix is one of the strongest characters in Star Wars. She went through horrendous torture in season 1 and still didn't give up any information.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, beyond that,
super
I
effective.
just think she's a great character. She's very loyal, and she's fierce and
Smart and
smart.
intelligent.
Yep.
Yeah, capable.
Uh, Very capable, and I think she's gonna. I get nervous though because I love that character, and I hope that at the end of the season we find out that she's off doing rebel stuff,
Yeah, yeah, same.
and she was actually in the Battle of Endor. She was over there, and
Yeah.
I hope that's how Vix's story ends up. I am fearful,
Yeah.
but that's what I hope.
I hope
I
she
hope.
could be like good friends with Hera, and they're just
Yes.
they're just out there fighting the good fight for many many long years, even after
I hope we
Palpatine.
get some visual dictionary, and there is an episode of Ahsoka or something. Oh, this actually Bix turned around,
General
in the hangar.
Kayleen out
Yeah,
there. Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm hoping for Marco Biggs. I really
me
want
too.
her to survive. But even yeah, even Brasso finding love, he's like, oh, Talia, and they're hugging. She's like, come here. And it's like, oh man, they found a place, a community. Everyone's super friendly. They're all like joking around. And just like, you just know the looming empire is like here just to put their boot on the neck of these people that aren't bothering anybody. They're just out there
But
harvesting.
also, it's so interesting, and it's so. I mean, the way they wrote it, they know that these people aren't all legal. They don't all have papers, but
Yeah,
they also need this grain. It's like, oh, what do they do? Sometimes they may pass you up knowing that you don't have,
right.
and so it's tricky and it's relevant, and it
Yeah,
it does mirror society in a lot of ways, but it's also not just like, oh, empire's here, they're bad, they're gonna, take
yeah,
everyone away. There's nuance to it,
yeah,
and
100%.
they're like, don't mention Ferrex.
Oh yeah,
Definitely don't
yeah.
mention Ferrex. But
Yeah.
but and there's the scene where when Brasso is caught, man, he tries to,
Oh yeah,
bail his guy out.
yeah,
He's like, you ratted me out, you ratted me out, and it's an honorable thing to do.
yeah,
Uh, it's just, man, this does make you root for hopefully the next snapshot, or maybe the third snapshot of year. Hopefully they got some. I don't know. I hope they give it to the Empire at some point. I know. I mean, we know how the story plays out,
yeah.
but I hope these characters, some of them, have a moment,
I
man.
think they will. I think they will.
Yeah.
There was a couple cool little like Easter eggs. They had a picture of Marva up on the in their like
Yes.
in their
Very cool.
homestead. When Cassian calls into Bix, he calls her Stone and Sky from Andor season 1.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned, and it hurt my feelings quite a bit. They're like, Brasso will never be a stone on Rick's road. Like, maybe they'll go
Damn.
back. Maybe they'll go back for him. But I'm like, probably not.
He's one with the grain.
One with the grain. I mean, I think in a different world they would have stayed. Like Brasso would stay there
Sure. Yeah.
because he's not
I
like
can see that.
scrapyard hauling junk. It was a hard life on Ferrix. It looked like,
It did.
but he seemed happy. They were smiling. They were laughing.
There's a sense of community there, and
Yeah.
like, yeah, they kind of found
Woman found
people.
a little redheaded girl to
Yes, he
fall in love
did.
with,
Yes, he did.
which probably
It
got
seemed like
Brasso killed.
yes, it did, and that's why I'm upset. I'm not happy with him. I haven't talked about him yet because, and one, there's not that much to talk about, but
Yeah,
also, damn.
I know. He said
Ah,
he kept his promise. He said, I'll make sure I'll see you before I before I leave. And I'm like, famous last words, man. Famous last words. But I thought it was really cool how Cassian comes in, he sees the Imperial ship, and then just like dives down, and then right above the security, like them in the truck. They're like, what is that tie
yes,
doing there? And just
I love that too. Who
so
called
cool.
this in? And then just immediately, uh, and I just think the concept of like a test pilot in Star Wars is really cool.
Oh yeah.
It's very Top Gun Maverick in
Oh
a
yeah.
way, and uh, I thought that the actual tie was pretty nice. And that scene is obviously very intense and very you get a rush like, oh, Cassian's here, he's gonna save everybody,
Yeah.
and that's the way that they cut it is very very well done.
Yeah.
Where it seems like he is gonna save Brasso, even the guy's pulling up the pulls up his scope. Like, let me see if I can aim through these goggles.
The guy
Let's
who's
get
trying
a
to be the
shot in
next
here.
Death Trooper. We have his little arc.
Yeah, he got kicked out of the Death Trooper Academy, but he's you watch the videos online. He's done some training.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, oh man, these guys can't catch a
I
break.
know. It rips your heart out a little bit. I mean, I'll be honest. I felt like Brasso's death was a little unceremonious, and it didn't punch as well as like any of the other deaths that I've felt in Star Wars. But it still sucks. Like I still like the actor, I still like the character, and I'm like, oh man, he's already out in the first 3. I thought he would be like maybe the next one or even the last. I don't know if he would necessarily make it through the whole thing,
Sure,
but yeah, it didn't punch as hard. It was more just like, dang, I'm not gonna see more Brasso because he's so good in season 1.
he is. Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
I think that. Yeah, I mean, as far as the punch, I was pretty upset
you were
because I
pretty
really
okay,
like,
okay.
Star Wars is interesting because you can even Brasso does have plenty of screen time in season one,
He does.
but with Star Wars, you can get attached to characters who have like almost no screen time, and then you're like devastated when they die off screen or on screen or whatever the case. So I was pretty sad because I really I thought Brasso was a cool character and
Yeah,
a great friend, and just very likable, and he
loyal
shows up
friend.
for people. He's like
Take
the
took care of his
Samwise.
mom.
Yep,
Oh
took care
yeah,
of his
yeah,
mom.
yeah.
Um,
So such a great character. But they
but
left.
yeah, but I do like that he's dead. I've
Yeah,
always appreciated that when shows don't pull punches. We have this one season. A lot of these characters we know probably won't make it. Is
yeah,
Daedra gonna live? I don't know.
yeah.
Is Cyril gonna live? I don't know.
I don't know.
I assume many of them won't.
Yeah,
And I do like when we start to knock off characters because it makes you feel like okay, it's sort of like Game of Thrones early on, and even through it's like after, especially we're at a wedding, but no one character is gonna die. It could just be
yeah.
a third episode in a season, and oh, my favorite character's dead.
Mm-hmm.
It just happens, and that's the game here. And I do like that because it sets a precedent. Like, okay, they killed Brasso just like that.
Yeah,
Uh, who's I obviously we know Cassian makes it till he doesn't
yeah.
in Rogue One, but I don't
Spoilers.
know when anyone's gonna die,
Right, right, right.
which is a
It's exciting.
little it makes me a little nervous. Yeah, it's
It's
exciting.
exciting. But do you think we'll see B2 ever again?
That was what I was gonna ask you. Okay, was he on the ship? Was he on the tie?
No, they left him with Talia.
Oh my
Brasso goes, he goes, hey, we're gonna leave you here with Talia. You know, your charger's here. He'll take care of you. You get to hang out with your friends, and like Cassie, and you know, his dumb little voice that he does. I don't really care about
Wally,
B2.
yeah.
I don't care. I'm like, yeah, bye B2. I'm just
I don't
wondering if they'll ever. I don't think they'll ever come back for him.
We're
Actually,
moving from B2 to K2. No, we
I'll
don't
take
need
that.
B2
I'll take
anymore.
that. I'll
Yeah, me
take
too.
that.
That's a good trade up.
Yeah.
Um, I don't have a strong attachment to B2 either.
Yeah. People
I
do.
don't think I don't yeah, people do. People do. I don't think we will see him again.
I don't think
If I
so
had to
either.
bet, if I was a betting man, which I am, I would say I'd put $20 on no.
Okay, so I'm gonna say yes because I think Bick survives this whole thing and then does like a
Fair.
funeral thing for Brasso and B2's there. That would be my guess.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I think that that's probably how we would see him.
Yeah.
Um, they're just in a fight and B2's in an X-wing. Like, B2, what are you doing here? I'm killing Cass. I don't know.
Marva wanted me to the Empire. You know,
Yeah.
so he's in the Battle of Exegol somewhere. Speaking of Exegol, no, I don't know. The Mon Mothma arc. We are here
Yeah.
on Chandrilla, and boy, oh boy, was this my favorite storyline of the show. Because
Again, oh my god, how do you take Mon Mothma, who's just she's there in the original trilogy, and you cook.
hooking with
Cook.
Genevieve O'Reilly doing it again, so good, so many ups and downs. Because I mean, second watch, I'm like, oh, this wedding stuff's boring. But the stories that are going through as this, it's a 3-day wedding, right? And
Yeah.
I like the oneer, right? We kind of like check in with all the characters again. Like, oh hey, you remember Tay? Hey, you remember Skolden? Oh hey, Belle's here. Oh hey, you know, like you just check in with Perrin, and it's like, okay, the whole crew's here on Chandril. It's a beautiful place. The outfits are great. They introduced like a couple family members for this wedding thing. I even like the line where she like compliments the aunt and she's like, oh, you lie so easily. I love that.
Yeah.
And then like when we were watching it, she's like, what is he doing here? They're like clocking somebody.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh man, could it be Krennic? Because we've, you know, seen Krennic in the trailers there.
That's what yep.
And but it was like, oh, it's Luthen. He's here and he's doing his fake thing and he's like doing something with Skolden and you don't know what's going on. And she's like, oh, he's terrible at secrets or something like that. He's like, oh, you know, it's a secret. She's like, oh, you're terrible at secrets. And you're like, just see what you guys are doing
Whatever,
here.
I see what you're doing, yeah.
A lot of double talk, very Game of Thrones again, you know, these like little spy
Very
things
coded. Yeah.
yeah, that we as the audience know, but the characters are not super privy to. But yeah, you know, it was really cool seeing Vel there, right? Again, for her cousin's wedding and everything. But as it unfolds, you know, you find out, which I didn't pick up the first time, but Tay Colma's not happy, right?
Yes.
I thought he was asking for sexual favors when we first started.
Oh my gosh.
I thought that's where it was going because he's like, I'm unsatisfied, and the way it was shot too
And
was
of
very
course,
intense. But I'm like, we can't have two essays going on in this
Yeah, no.
episode. But it wasn't until they're like, what's his number? Like how you know
Yeah.
how what does he want? How much credits?
That was a shock to me. I didn't
Yeah.
expect to jump into that
Yeah.
storyline, you know. That was a big shock, and, you're right, they kept asking, "What's the number? What's the number?" It's sad, you know, everybody in the storyline, they're acting like they're on stew, man. I mean, I love the way that Luthen constantly switches back and forth
Oh
between his,
yeah.
you know, his serious "I'm Luthen," and
Yeah.
then, you know, his the more flamboyant, proctor of goods,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know, side. But yeah, with the Tay storyline, it took me a while too. I'm like, I don't know what exactly is going on here. Like
Yeah.
a little confused.
He's like,
And
oh,
it
I've been wanting to talk to you. She's like, oh yeah, I got your message, but a wedding's going on, bro. Like, I can't talk to you about it right now. And he's like, oh, you know, don't worry about it. We'll talk soon. We'll talk soon. And then it just like keeps on. You're like, what is he trying to talk to her about?
yeah.
And he eventually goes like, you know, Skolden got a you know marriage out of it. You know, your foundation's going great. The rebellion's going great. He goes, but with the rebellion, it's effing up my money. My business is all getting jacked up. It's like, what about Tay? What
And he
about
lost
Tay?
his wife, right? I think he's
His wife
losing his
left, yeah.
and then, you know, he's looking, around, and it's like, "Oh, look at all this, wealth just being flaunted.
Yeah.
Is it must be nice.
Yeah.
Must be nice. What about old Tay?
Yeah. What about old
But yeah,
Tay?
it's he was her number one. He was like her rock. He
Yeah.
was there for
He
her all
saved her
through season
essentially.
one. He did save her, yeah. He found the way out, and man, he just, he talked about his investments that haven't exactly worked out, and the rebellion.
He started saying rebellion out loud, which was
Yes,
crazy.
at that point, it's like, oh my, and that when Luthen gets in, I'm like, oh no, he's dead,
Yeah.
he's dead, he's dead.
I was like, Luthen was about to kill Cassian after a successful heist mission on Aldani.
Yes,
Dude can't hold his liquor nor keep his mouth shut about saying rebellion out loud. I was like, bro, it's up for you, man. It's up for you.
yeah,
Um, but even if there was a number, even if he had a number in mind, it's still
mm, no, that's done. Can't
it's
trust
over.
him. Yeah,
And there was even pressure. I like this part too. Pressure from Perrin. He's like, "Oh, your boyfriend, your
I
boyfriend, you and
know.
your boyfriend been talking a lot, huh?" She's like, "Well, who are you talking about?" She's like, "I don't even know what you're talking about." He's like, "Tay, he's been drinking a lot." He's like, "Oh yeah, everyone knows Tay's weak," and she's like, "I didn't realize Tay was weak."
Everybody knows. It's just
Everybody
this day.
knows.
Um,
What a
there's
weak
just so
man.
many threads in this storyline. Like everything's crossing and
Mm-hmm.
overlapping, and it is a beautiful dance I know there's literally a dance, but
Yeah,
the way
multiple.
that things are just constantly moving and like everything's in motion, like Mon is having her issues once she realized the Tay stuff, because obviously she really cares about him. She's
Oh yeah,
blindsided by this. But then also with her daughter, that moment in
man.
before they walk out, when
There's
she
two
starts to have
moments.
this there is two moments. You're right, there is two moments. But I just I mean, you take the and that's the beauty of Star Wars, is you have this character who was introduced oh so long ago and was just
Oh
Osmond
yeah,
Mothma. It's
yeah.
like it's just there. She's a leader of some sorts, you know what I mean?
Sure. She wears white.
Um, yeah, she wears white.
She's
She's beautiful
redhead.
outfits, and
Yeah,
then you go around and make this just one I think one of the best characters we've ever had.
100%.
Um, but just when Genevieve is so excellent, and it's gutting when she starts to sort of try to give her daughter an out in a way,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
she's obviously speaking from her own experience, and the going back to the speech her mother gave her, or not gave her, but why her mother was drunk, and she's like, I understand why she was drunk now,
yeah.
standing here with you, and then just a gut punch when her daughter says, I wish you were drunk,
Oh,
I'm
God.
like, oh my god.
She's like, stand behind me and like wipes the tears off her face, and we're just gonna go through it. Oh man, it was because even just the night before, she was like, "Oh, we had our first fight. He doesn't want to hold my hand. He's a child." It was like, "Oh, this is
Yes.
just like that's such a little thing to have a fight over. They're teenagers. They're getting married.
Yep.
Her probably going back to her and parents' marriage. Like it's so young. It's so young. I mean, with our standards, here
Of
in
course.
reality, but even still, it's very similar, right? So she's like,
It is.
we can gives her the out. We don't have to do this. We could say, hey, my bad,
If
everybody.
Yep.
But I don't know
And
if
it'll be
it's
remembered as bravery, she's, like, trying to, like, let her know, like,
yeah.
it's you don't have to, and it's sad because obviously she put this in action to,
Oh right, yeah. To get
so it all kinda comes back, and it
yeah,
is guilt, certainly,
yeah. But even another great. Everyone hates Perrin. I don't hate Perrin that much, but everybody hates Perrin. But
everybody hates Barry. Yeah,
his speech was really good.
I agree.
His toast. Oh, and by the way, the Sagrona Tima. I was trying to. I was harping on it in Japan. I was like, oh, when we do
You
our
were.
toast, we'll do Sagrona Tima. And it was just a little thing in season one, and then it becomes the actual name of the episode too. But going back to his speech, it was such a great speech. He was like, pleasure. I wrote down pleasure, gaiety, amusement. These are the hidden things. The music bearing beneath all the noise. He goes, joy, joy, joy. Joy has no wind at its back. Joy will not announce its arrival. You need to listen for it and be mindful how fleeting and delicate it can be. Search out these treasures. And I loved that they zoom in on Luthen and him just like, I'm gonna kill Tay, and it just reminds you when he said, "Calm, kindness, calm, kindness, kinship, love. I've given all of that up for a chance at inner peace." Like he doesn't get any of joy. He's no joy in his heart. Just the
It
darkness
is
that is within him
an
that needs to get
excellent
done.
speech. I do think that Perrin is not very likable in season 1, but I do think
For
that
sure.
this speech does give you insight to, like, the way he thinks and, like, the
Yeah.
way that, his kind of point of view on life and obviously, he doesn't know what's going on.
No idea.
He's trying to live his live his life. He's getting accused of gambling when he's not even he's like, "I swear I didn't
Yeah.
put the prize picks in, I promise." Um, but I do think also, yeah, that was an excellent speech and excellent parallels. Um, but you're right. I mean, it's a masterfully executed scene with
Yeah.
going back, zooming in on Luthen. You're right, uh, and then just at this point, I think it was at was it? I'm mixing up the order of scenes now. But was that scene before the dancing? Like, was it right before? Or was that the
It
day
was
before?
the night before
Night
the
before
the final like
the
wedding ceremony
actual
stuff.
ceremony.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And that's a great point too. I didn't think about that as that's his outlook on life.
yeah,
Because he's like, the world sucks. He talked about how like sorrow will come at, or grief or sadness will come at you even when you're standing still. The galaxy will put it at your doorstep. Like he was saying that before this part too. It was just a very real thing. And even the audience, like you said, the audience, Star Wars fans don't like him, but his audience, they're like, Perrin, yeah, Perrin. Like they're all like
yeah.
cheering him on. They like this dude because he is about
It's a vibes guy,
he's the
man.
vibes guy, luxury, having fun, drinking. Because even like they were partying, him and Mon were partying in season 1.
Yeah,
They don't show it, but they're like leaving parties and the socialite aspect of it all. But even him trying to convey that to his daughter, like it's something that I believe in. It's like, hey, life's gonna suck, and take these moments to enjoy the people around you, and enjoy love, and try to find joy in these harder times, which I think is important. But in the world of Star Wars, nobody's having nobody's
but
having
see, it's
fun.
it's such an interesting thing though because you're right, it is important. But then when you look at what Mon Mothma sees and what she knows and what she's trying to do, and you think about Luthen's speech, sorry, I don't have that. Like, I can't.
Yeah, you
I
can't.
can't. You got to make those sacrifices. But he's not. That's not his world, really. Yeah, they
Yeah,
live together, and they're married and everything. But it's so interesting. They're essentially living very, very, very different lives,
yeah, opposites.
while essentially living the same life. But um, it's yeah, and I while there's the EDC going on with Mon Mothma when she's
Love it.
dancing and getting drunk and the way that they I mean they cut between I think they were cutting between her and Bix, right?
Yes, they were.
And uh and oh yeah, because it fed into the end of the episode when Cassian showed up and everything.
Yeah,
Um and I'm like, man, this is I mean, they're both suffering and they're both, you know, going through various turmoil, very different, very different scenarios here. It almost reminds me of I in a weird way. We keep bringing up Game of Thrones, but I remember I think it was the final season when the pair of like Kit Harington and Amelia Clark talking about their experience, and
mm.
Amelia Clark's just like, oh, it's so beautiful, every set we're on is so beautiful and it's gorgeous and we're on set and location. And then they cut to Kit and he's like covered in mud and he's like, every season's just more dirt, more mud, more just they
Yeah.
just keep burying me in filth. um and I do hope that we gotta have we gotta have Bix and Mon Mothma come together at
Oh
some
yeah,
point. They
for
gotta,
sure,
yeah.
for sure.
um
But
it
yeah,
would
I
be
mean,
a
going back
killer
to
duo.
the finale, it's like he's like, Luthen's like, we have to protect you, and he's like,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know what you're talking about, and he goes, how nice
Yes.
for you, how nice
Yes.
for you, actually. Uh, and then I love it too because it's like the DJ droid comes out and everyone's like, "Hey, right, the Nyamos, right? It's the Nyamos like rave remix, the EDC, like you're saying,
Yes.
which is great. Real quick, Star Wars put out the hour-long
I
version
saw
of that
that.
song. It slaps. It slaps. It's pretty cool. Um, but they show Tay leaving, and then
Mm.
Vel catching Tay leaving, but his new driver is Miss Cinta, and you're like, oh, Miss Cinta, the cold-hearted killer, is gonna be driving Tay into oblivion. That guy is gonna met the Reaper.
Good. Bye. Yeah.
He's definitely not gonna be in the next arc of
Nope.
Andor, and then the same like two friends, Brasso and Tay, sacrificed in this war that's happening, and Mon Mothma just has to drink it away and just dance it out. I get it.
It's so crazy that you're right though. She just drinks it away and dances it out because it's like at this point, you know what's gonna happen. The bet is made.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, I mean, there's just so much going on, and I love it. When you have Cinta go out there and she spoke on, I haven't seen Vel. I don't know where Vel is. I haven't heard from her. I can't find her.
Or
And
vice
there she
versa.
is.
Yeah.
She's just oh yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vel talking about Cinta.
Cinta.
And
Yeah.
there Cinta is just still she's working.
Yeah.
She's working.
Even oh shoot, we
Uh
even forgot Clea too in these scenes where
you're right.
Luthen's like, "Hey, have you heard from anybody?" She's like, "I can't do it from here. Like the
Oh
signal's
yeah.
jammed from here, or it's being monitored here. I can go back to the shop where I could actually use my equipment." And her going back and forth with Cassian, her with Luthen, her with Vel. I even love that because Vel's like, "So did we just meet for the first time?" And she's like, "You've been to the shop before. Like, get on it. Get on
Yeah,
this
like
spy shit, bro. Like, get with
you
it."
gotta be on your game.
You
What are we
gotta
doing?
be
It's the
on your
amateur
game.
hour.
And Vel is like, yeah, Vel's all messed up. I don't know why Vel's all messed up, but she's all like, well,
Heartbreak will do that to you,
I
man.
know she
I
just
don't know.
misses her girl. But I even like the scene. She's like, we're just two single ladies looking for prospects, and like Vel gives her an up and down and is like, nope, not you, and just like walks away. And I was like, oh, I like that a lot. But I like where Clea's at, still on top of it, still Luthen's rock essentially, actually, because
Yeah, he
he's
is.
the one like kind
He's
of
a
bouncing
mess
around. Yeah,
without
he's
her. I think he would be a mess without her.
yeah. I would
Yeah,
love to know more about Clea and her story. And I like all these
me too.
characters, female characters. I'm not going to put a sex to it, but these great female characters, um, who have compelling backs, who I believe have compelling backstories. I want to know more about them. But just getting things done, it's so cool. I love what Andor season 2 is doing. And setting up
They
what
write all
the
their
rest of it is.
characters well, which
100%.
is rare. It's pretty. I mean, there's no issue. You get usually, you know, I mean, the male characters, the female characters, they're all
They're
written
all good.
excellently.
Yeah,
And you're right. I like that. When she's communicating with Andor, even like this is the more organized, seemingly sect of rebels. Even then, he's like, "This is not the ship I was trained to
yeah,
fly. This
yeah.
is
I was like,
not like
what ship
nothing.
was it?
Nothing here is right. Like none of this is what we discussed."
Right.
And even when she's like, you can't go home, and he's like, I'm going
Yeah,
home,
he's like,
but
well,
it's very tense. It's like even though they work together and clearly they've been working together because uh you know he's there on their request
yeah,
stealing this tie. It's like I can't tell you why you can't go home, but you can't go home, and it's still very like there's still such a lack of trust and a lack of I guess transparency between even the people who are working side by side essentially. It is a true miracle that anything ever succeeded for these rebels.
for
But
sure. For sure. Well, I would like to ask you, what would you rate this section of Andor season 2, episodes 1, 2, and 3? Put you on the spot
give
here.
me an 8. I'll give it an 8. I think 8 was what I thought before we started, and I was curious like, okay, I don't know. I was curious if it was going to go down at all
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, oh, well, when we started to talk about the Andor story in the beginning, I'm like, yeah, I mean, but I think that 90% of the 3 episodes were excellent.
Mm,
And even the Andor stuff, I didn't hate it or anything. I thought it was still good in the beginning, his storyline on Yavin, but uh that was like the one weak point, I guess. But even still, I found myself I guess appreciating it more we talked about it.
yeah.
Um so I give it a solid 8. Maybe I could be convinced 8.5 is actually it, but
Okay.
I think I'm sticking with 8. I'm sticking with 8.
When I walked into this podcast, I was at a 7.5
Okay.
due to mostly due to the Rebels storyline on Yavin,
Sure.
and then it's a big portion of
It is a big portion of the
and
first 2 episodes.
yeah, and I'm like, what is it? And I'm hoping that, again, I said it a bunch already, if it moves on into one of these further arcs and it comes back around, it would bump up the score for me, because it's just the seeds of where we're starting. But I could be convinced. I think I'm just enjoying this conversation so much and really going deeper into what was given. I could be convinced it's an 8. Um,
Yeah.
Again, it's like the Cassian arc is kind of a little underwhelming due to that stuff. Um, but yeah, it would be 7, 5, 8. But I'll meet you at 8 for now, for this podcast,
Take that.
for
I'll
season
take that.
2.
You know what? I've been watching a lot of really bad TV in my vacation that I just finished,
Yeah.
and this was such a. Hey, I'm getting to better television now, but it is some great stuff. So 8. I feel very happy with an 8. I feel
Yeah.
very happy with an 8.
I don't think
I
I would
expect
give Andor
I
season 1
expect us to
and
get 9s.
first 3 episodes an 8. I'm not sure
I
if
was
I
gonna
would.
ask you that. Yeah, I was gonna ask you that
Yeah, I
because
don't know if
I
I
remember
would.
notoriously that first 3 wasn't your favorite.
Was not my favorite. Even on second watch, I'm like, there's stuff here, but to me, it just took too long for 3 episodes to get where we get.
It is the weakest 3 of the first season for sure.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
sure.
So maybe this is kind of like a Dave Filoni season 1, season 2. It's not usually that great, and we pick up a lot faster
Yeah.
in 3 episodes for sure.
Oh yeah.
Before we end, so far, do you like the 3 episode was it
Format?
format?
I do. I like that it plays like one single story. Like if you watch it back to back to back,
Yeah.
it's like one movie,
Right.
essentially, almost like Sherlock
Oh,
used to
right.
be or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But I don't because I don't want to. It's hard for me to like when the episode drops. When do they drop? Tuesdays.
Tuesdays, yeah.
I don't know that I'm gonna be able to watch all 3, and that does
Yeah.
bother me a little because I don't want to be behind.
Yeah.
Um, so yes, I do like watching them in a block like that. I just if they release on a Saturday, that'd be
Mm,
perfect.
yeah, yeah.
Tuesday night, a little rough.
Yeah, because like, are you gonna be home at exactly 6, or whoever you're watching with? Are we all gonna be
Yep.
ready to go at 6? And then now we're getting into the late hours. I think most people are watching, breaking it up in some form or fashion. I know, like, some people are going Tuesday first episode, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
I mean, even me, I wasn't able to really watch them till I think Wednesday or Thursday night, after we got back from Japan. But I still prefer one episode. They just, it's easier to review, easier to like sit with, and then it's gonna go by so fast. Not really looking forward to only 4 weeks of it, but I am enjoying these episodes with you, and I want to know where people can find you.
You can find me at the Fan Awakens on YouTube and Fan Awakens pretty much everywhere. And Twitch at Uncle_Sheev.
Nice, nice. You can find me here mostly at Raincore on YouTube and on Instagram, Raincore, where we post a lot of stuff about the channel, but also at Parade Rainer, where I'm posting my cosplay, and both Instagrams are getting my experience in Japan. But there are a few that don't cross over. So make sure you're following at both, and make sure you subscribe and drop a comment. What do you think about these 3 episodes? What do you think will happen in the next 3? Any questions that you might have moving forward? Let's talk about it. Let's have a fun conversation in the comments below. But thank you so much for tuning in. And with that being said, I hope you all have a great rest of your galactic day. Punch it, Chewie! Boom! We're out of here.